Hi, everybody. It's John Galante, president of AE Ventures, with our Builder Innovator Bull Session. Bull Session is actually defined in the American Dictionary of Slang as like a small group having an intensive, informal discussion. For me, a bull session takes me back to my years in the college dorms, staying up late, talking about my poli-sci 101 class with my roommates, drinking beer and arguing and tape recording the arguments to see who won the next day, which were never listened to somehow. So I wanted to have that flavor. I don't know if we can get there, but this is a freewheeling discussion. We're gonna, kind of take on a topic or a set of topics and kick it around. And you guys all have a lot of knowledge, and I think you're an opinionated crew. And so I'm looking forward to a lively discussion. But let's start with introductions of who you are, your company, a little bit on your background in the AV industry.
So, thanks, John.
Yeah.
So I'm with SoundTube Entertainment.
What's your name?
I'm Jason Dominick. I'm the vice president of sales for SoundTube Entertainment, which is SoundTube for our commercial division, Rock Acoustics for our outdoor solutions, and Phase Tech for residential. So we cover the gamut of pretty much all the audio channels for the categories, and that's kind of what we're doing here today, is to really raise that awareness to the builders of the solutions that are out there.
Yeah. And what's your personal history with AV?
I go back.
Built-in AV.
Well, I've worked with builders in the past, and obviously, for us, my years past was architectural speakers, in-walls, outdoor, landscape products, and what we've learned with builders is, we want to try to transcend that level of energy and entertainment in a home. And so that's why really it's important to talk about the built-in applications of speakers and sound along with the video part of it.
Yep. How about you? Who are you?
Thanks, John. I'm Frank DePhilippis. I'm the Builder Channel lead at Sonos.
What's Sonos?
We're a sound experience company. Been around for about 20 years, a little bit over 20 years, out of Southern California. And, I'm a double E by training. I've got about 20 years in this business, about half of that as an integrator, selling to homeowners and builders, designing systems. And the other half as a vendor, really building trade programs that help activate builders and motivate homeowners.
Very good. Kevin?
I'm Kevin Roach. I'm with Bravas. We are a national integrator, so we're the boots on the ground.
Why do you look guilty?
Yeah, I know. I top of my hands. It's gonna go right. But we do actually the install across the country with residential builds. Our focus is almost exclusively residential, so I'm looking forward to this, seeing where this goes.
So we were jibber-jabbering a little bit about this research, quote-unquote research that we pulled, which is basically our industry relations, industry relations executive going online and looking at national and regional builders' websites to see who's promoting various technology offers. And there were about 6-7 categories. We also looked at digital solutions, but on the high side, we had smart home security, right, which is that security plus basic automation play, where we're at 38% of this universe of national and regional builders having a strongly promoted offer, right? And if you go into the $1 billion plus builders, so those would be like top 30 builders, 93%, 93%. Good old audio and video, the original consumer electronics category, right? When what's now the CTA was the Electronic Industries Alliance. It was originally the Radio Industry Association. So audio was the first consumer electronics category. And we're sitting there at a measly 2% on the overall universe. Big guys doing better with like 8%, but 1% for the under $1 billion. So what happened? What's going on? Do we surrender? Do people really not want audio and video in a production-built home? I mean, you guys are in the market. What gives? Who wants to take that one first?
You know what? You're the boots on the ground there.
Okay, so just some thoughts, right? I think that security, when we look at security, it's kind of a basic need, right? So there's a quicker attachment to security. So I can understand the desire to like have that as a lead thing, right? No one wants to leave their family at home without a secure, safe place to live. And so I can see that being a very quick, attachable, understandable, broad-reaching, technology that's available for clients. And so I understand why that may have a higher percentage. But to watch it just fall off the cliff, right, and then hit this 1%, 8%, 2% overall, it's kind of astonishing to me because I think people love music. I think we still do. We listen to it in our earbuds. We want it in the house, I think we want it in the house. At least the data that we're seeing, or not necessarily the data, but what we're seeing from an install perspective across the country is that people still want it. Whether or not builders see the need to advertise it or to go to it, I think that's what we need to dig into a little bit and where that kind of comes from.
See, I think it's all economics. The security community has figured out how to empower the national builders and regional builders with the ability to offer homeowners a smart home enabled living space at very little cost to them. It's automation as a service. It's smart home as a service is the economic model, right? So ultimately the homeowner pays the bill over time, right? It's the same way that you can get a $1,400 smartphone for nothing, right? It's because you're committing to the long term of payments. That's where the economics are, but not for the builder. The builder is able to offer a very attractive smart home enabled living space at all price points, even entry level homes.
So it's about price?
It's not about price, it's about model, right? So I'm offering you benefits, but it's as a service, which means I don't bear the brunt of it. So I think that's congratulations to the security community for figuring that out, because in these times of high interest rates, that appears to be resonating.
But a lot of those systems are actually sold without an upfront monitoring contract. They're not subsidized, and the consumer is paying for it. They might be paying it on a second step kind of aftermarket perspective, and there's money rebated to the builder. So it isn't necessarily the Brinks free security system that they're buying, right? In many cases through the builder. So I'm not buying your explanation, Frank.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. This is one of the things that I look at too, and this as an ex-AV security integrator guy too. What is the most elaborate security system available? Is it bars on the windows? Is it an alarm system? Is it, razor wire fence? No, people want to feel safe.
Yeah.
But here's why I say that. Where's the safest place for your kids? In your own home. And I would always sell AV on the concept of security, because the safest place for your kids is in your own home. Where do you, when you move to a new house, if your kids are 3 blocks over, you don't know if they're getting into drugs, alcohol, guns, violent video games. A mom is the best filter, best security device, I think, because you put that family room, the family room's right next to the kitchen. You have the TV on the wall, you put the nice system there, the thundering subwoofers, the gaming system, the movies. The kids are going to want to be at your house. Mom is going to want to be able to monitor that, and if she sees the bully, if she sees a violent video game or suggestive lyrics and music, she can extract that. So I think what the problem too with AV is, we're not doing an effective job of selling it, because we kind of go, oh, you could just go buy that and pick that up on the shelf and put it there, right?
Sure.
But there's more to it.
Well, do people really care about, you were asking the question. I think people like audio, right? Like, is that it? Is that all of us with all this experience in the AV industry, we think people like audio? I think we have to have some conviction. I think audio is almost like oxygen to me. And now I know not everybody has that personality, but a lot of people love their music. They need their music. I just came out of a session where we talked about how technology is increasingly about mood control, and not just convenience and conservation, but what controls a mood? Melissa Andresco is going to say it's lighting, but what controls a mood better than lighting? Audio.
Yeah.
Let
We
me
got to
give you-
believe in it.
Let me
We
give
gotta-
you a stat. So in the last 9 years, streaming music subscriptions and content subscriptions have gone from 60 million to 616 million. Tenfold increase in 9 years of streaming music,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Combine that with the advancements in portable audio, things like headphones and Bluetooth, and you end up with a scenario where I think builders feel that audio experiences in the home are personal and a post-closing situation, and it's
Right.
something they don't need to get involved with. And so our challenge is showing them that actually that's not the case. Audio done properly is part of infrastructure, and that needs to be considered in the design stage and the rough-in stage. And if you're not doing that, you're leaving money on the table and you're selling your homeowner short.
I agree with Frank. Like I was at a track meet Monday night. My kids are running a district track meet, and I'm looking around the stands. I'm looking at all the kids in the field, and not every person, but 90% of the people have headphones on, right? So clearly, music is still important. I'm on an airplane coming here to Nashville, and 90% of the people on the airplane have headphones on. 90% of the people in the airport have headphones on. So people are listening to music. People listen to music. We know that streaming services are exploding. We know that's happening. We just need to translate that into how do we get this as an infrastructure that goes into the house and make sure that we're taking advantage of the right.
So, I mean, let's stick on audio for now. You got
Well,
something you want to add?
here's an example of that. If you walk into any builder's home that they're trying to build, they want to, it's the curb appeal. They always say this, all right? It's that appeal that when you walk into that house, you want people visualizing themselves playing in the backyard in the pool or grilling out with their friends or entertaining. And you even see that in the marketing. It's sometimes they're holding a bowl of popcorn on the sofa. Well, what are they watching? What are they listening to? And to me, the music is that. If you don't go to if you go down Broadway here in Nashville, how would that energy feel in Nashville if there was no music playing?
Yeah.
You would kind of go, yeah. We did that last night. We
He
went down
keeps
Broadway.
referencing these walks down the
We went
street in
down
Nashville,
Broadway, yeah.
but there are no details forthcoming.
He just got back in
Yeah,
home.
I just got back. But we go down Broadway and we saw this energy, and then there was another cross street, and I'm talking with my boss. I'm going, well, what about this street? He goes, nah, I don't want to go to that. That's a good example of that. If you don't go to a restaurant, if you open the door at 11 o'clock in the morning and you don't see TVs on and music playing, you think maybe they're not open yet. You close the door and you kind of sit in the parking lot and maybe wait for someone else to come in. So it's that energy.
Let's talk about multi-room, right? Because there's audio. We were referencing these personal audio experiences with headphones, et cetera, but I wager that all of us have multi-room audio. If we don't have it in our current house, we had it in a previous house, and we have it's the kind of thing, once you got it, you don't go back.
Right.
Right?
Agreed.
Like, how many builders understand that? I mean, we were talking about window covering motorization too in this previous session. It's like, we're headed to 70-80% of windows having motorized shades on them in 5-7 years, right? Because it's once you experience the convenience of that, you don't want to do other stuff. But to me, less of a kind of mechanical convenience like the shades. Once you experience the multi-room music thing, when people can come into your home for a cocktail hour or something, and there's the right music playing in 3 or 4 different spaces that they're going to walk through en route to the kitchen or the great room or whatever, and that's a great experience, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah. It's the only experience. It's like a car window, right? We used to be fine rolling down a car window, but when you got power windows, you never want to go back to that.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to put your key back in the car door. Sometimes you just got to experience that and get that. I think that sometimes we look at data, right? And specific to these percentages we talked about earlier, we're talking about who's advertising it on a website, right? As a thing that they're doing. And that's one way of looking at it, right? I think that we're probably seeing more of that stuff be talked about in the field, maybe not necessarily advertised on as a marketing tool on the website, which I think they probably should. I think that's something that could attract more people to it. But I think that more of those people are getting engaged on that, right? I know a lot of national builders that have show homes, and part of that process is walking through and talking to an integrator as they're picking out slabs, as they're picking out tile floors and backsplashes. They're also talking about the technology that goes into it. And maybe they don't put that on their website.
Yeah, and so is multi-room audio for the rich and famous? I know we're all rich and famous, and that's why we have it.
Yeah. No, it is for everybody. And that's the thing too. you'll put a pool in a yard. How many months out of the year you use it? If you're in Chicago, 4 or 5 months maybe, and the kids can use it, maybe mom and dad, but maybe the elderly aunt can't use it. But music can be used in every room in the house by everybody in the home 365 days a year. That's the benefit of music. So I think that's the thing too, is we also need to kind of look at it as packaging it and bundling it in that offer of that home. Because, you know, if you look at the fast food, they make the Happy Meal. It's the fries, the burger, and the drink. And
Right.
they make a lot more money by putting that package together. And I think builders can make a lot more money by making that part of the package, making it almost standard.
Get in here, Frank.
I agree. So our strategy right now, right, is to really focus on design centers and model homes. If we can get the music on and allow sales agents and leadership to see the impact that it has, we think we can move the needle, particularly when, you know, interest rates come down, and they will come down. I don't know if it's going to be in 6 months or 18 months, but they will come down. And then we're in the position that we want to be, right? And so how do we do that? One of the products we've worked on is a way for builders to control the music and not rely on sales agents and design centers to have to turn it on, adjust the volume, pick commercially licensed music, for example. Take that out of their hands. Give them the ability to toggle between, you know, genres if they prefer, to make sure it's tailored for their preferences or the preferences of their customer who's coming into their store, right? These are stores. Let's
Yeah,
not kid ourselves.
absolutely.
Right? It's part of merchandising. And that seems to be resonating with some of the national builders. So we're focused on pilot programs
Yeah.
and getting them, because we've got to get them introduced to the concept. Most people still don't realize they can put speakers in their kitchen ceiling.
So this is Stereo Store 101, right? This is Gary Yakubian, Meyer M.Co. Do the demo.
Right.
Have people listen to the audio, then they want it, you know? But like if we don't, if the self-guided tour is a silent self-guided tour, it might have some automation, but it doesn't have any audio playing in it, then we're not setting ourselves up for the sale of that audio.
Well, if you look at restaurants and in the commercial space, restaurants are playing music for a couple reasons. One, it masks the music. So, hey, if this pizza's cold over here, you don't hear the complaining about it. But it also entertains and creates that energy for people. Yeah. So they stay longer. They order more appetizers and drinks and cocktails. You know, and if you're a builder, you kind of want that homeowner in your house a little longer. If they walk in and walk out, are they going to buy that house?
No.
Probably not. But if they stay there for an hour looking at these things.
You want them to imagine living there, right? Which is, I'm going to take this over to video. I know we got audio guys here too, but you do video too.
Yep.
But what is the number one thing people do at home, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics National Time Study, when they're not asleep? Number one thing they do is sleep in terms of hours spent at home. The number two thing is that when they're awake is watching TV, right?
Yeah.
So like we have a situation where, because the margins on televisions are so low and the builder has typically been left out of that value chain, they don't do a lot of demoing of TVs. But it's the number one thing people do when they're awake at a home. If you want them to imagine living in a home, one of the things you would want them to imagine is what it's like to watch TV, which they spend the most time doing of anything at home. So those model homes have to be outfitted with TVs. And should they be crap TVs, or should they be something with high resolution, and what goes
Beautiful
with
frame TV that looks amazing, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that you're right. I think that most model homes, when you walk into, they've got like the plasticky, like fake TV that's stuck onto the wall. I don't get that. I don't
It's
understand.
the furniture store TV.
Yeah, right. Yeah. and
not
so
real TV.
it needs to be real. It needs to be on, and it needs to be working. And I think that falls in line with what Frank is saying, right? It's what content do you put on that's going to end up matching for everybody? Do you put on a HGTV design show, which is probably what most people watch during the days, all the day long? Probably not, because you're in a model home and you don't really want that content on there. And so I think they run into the challenge of, what do we actually put on this? And so they're stuck putting fake TVs out. They're stuck putting those kind of things on, unless they have their own materials that they can run.
I see a lot of that, particularly with the national guys.
Yeah.
They use it as a digital signage opportunity, and there's some self-running content, and the sales agents don't have to be too involved or trained in turning it on. But there's no doubt. I mean, I'm sure you guys are doing model homes for your builder relationships across the country. And are you putting up displays? Is it the open concept, keeping room, family room?
Yeah.
I mean, I got to think that.
Yeah, we're doing, frame TVs to show what that looks like, right? It can be art, it can be TV. You kind of get a little bit of design that goes to that. People feel like they live in that environment. They get that feeling, that emotional attachment. And so we're seeing it there, but we're not seeing it everywhere. And we're not really running content on it, right? We're just kind of putting it up and letting it be.
Well, let me ask you this. You're doing these model homes. How come you're not just taking the TV and setting it on the shelf, putting it on the countertop?
Because it looks better, right? Because it.
If you're going to the builder and they're doing this model home and you go, all right, well, we're going to put this TV on a stand over here, or we're going to put it on this box or this cabinet. What's their reaction? They're going, no, I want it in the wall. Why do they want it on the wall? To be custom, to be appealing.
They don't want it stolen.
Well, yeah, they don't
That's where he was going.
but most customers want that on the
doubt.
wall. If they're going to get a 50-inch or an 80-inch TV, they want it on the wall. And that's the perception, and part of that is custom in their mind. So we need to also let them know that it's not just the TV on the wall, it's the speakers in the wall.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
but
I mean,
you-
it's got to be quality sound with the quality video,
Right,
right? 80% of the emotion comes from the speakers, not from the display.
You talk about your ex-wife and my wife. We joke about this. Okay, all right, well.
I mean, she's a lovely woman. But
Okay, my wife would not tolerate a toaster oven in my house. Okay, if I came home and put a toaster oven on my house on my counter, it would be in the garbage within 10 minutes.
It's one of my favorite appliances.
But wait, but wait, a toaster oven does the same thing as a built-in oven does, right? It's and it's kind of the thing. Well, you could put headphones on. You could put but there's a difference. There's the cooktops. You have a $4,000, $8,000 cooktop in Vinahood, but yet you're eating out 12 times a week. So why are you doing that when a hot plate might do the same thing? So we need to be kind of talking the message of why you put the speakers in the wall, why you're doing that. And that's the thing. You can put the speakers in, you put the TV up, and you can connect Frank's stuff to it very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, my message to builders is that a Bluetooth speaker on a kitchen counter is not a home audio solution.
Right.
It's part of the infrastructure, and you've got to. A lot of customers don't realize it's possible, and it's not very expensive, right? There's a lot of other upgrades that are considerably more expensive that they'll get way less enjoyment.
Their TVs are more expensive, right?
Way more.
And so I think, and you don't get the emotional attachment. Well, I think I saw a statistic that said 97% people feel emotionally attached to music. Can you imagine being the 3% that just doesn't? You listen to music and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever,
Sorry
move on. Yeah.
souls.
That's gonna be miserable, right?
When we launched Apple Music on our platform 5 or 6 years ago, we commissioned a study, and it's common sense, right, that music evokes emotion. But we did a study, 30,000 people across the globe, Europe, Asia, United States, North America, and proved and created empirical evidence, right, that music, just like exercise, a good night's sleep, and eating well, it is good for your health. It allows you to create emotional bonds with the people that you share a space with, as well as the space itself, right? And so this is why, in commercial spaces, in commercial stores, particularly in retail, the music is not an afterthought. It is. There are some very high-paid people, merchandisers, who select what does on-brand music look like. And we're starting to see those positions and those titles show up with the national builders, right? Brand ambassadors, not just marketing VPs, but people that are in charge of brand. And as we put together these model home programs with music that's remote controlled, they figure out off of our menu of hundreds of genres, what is on brand for us? And then they create a smaller menu, and that's what's made available to the sales agent.
I think the content management piece is an interesting innovation on the audio. What the content is on that critical viewing / listening area is a really interesting question. Unfortunately, the AV integrator geeks historically have gone for the action movie demos so that you could hear the subwoofer and all the different surround effects, which is an absolute turnoff for the lady of the house who might be a critical decision maker on that stuff. So we need to think about a variety of content with appeal to different types. It's a really interesting question.
I almost think concerts are are more important to show video and with audio
Yeah.
than really anything else.
It's a safer pick.
And the Top Gun.
It is.
Sure. Taking off of an aircraft carrier.
Music kind of gravitates everybody. This morning I'm doing our setup in our booth for the show, and I'm playing Peter Frampton. One of the other vendors comes over and he goes, "Oh, I love this song." I mean, it's complimenting how good it sounded. But then he goes, "You know, I've always wanted to see Peter Frampton." I said, "Well,
Was it unplugged?
It was
Peter Frampton unplugged?
it was the live, the double.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
but it's Peter Frampton. He goes, "I've always wanted to see the guy," and he stopped touring. I said, "He's touring again." So he immediately looks up where Frampton's touring. And so what was great is that energy of that song transferred that energy. Now this guy's looking for tickets to go to that concert. Now, for him, a month from now, 2 months from now, he's going to go to that concert going, "I remember listening to this at this place." And we want to transfer that energy. And you talk about the health aspects. People who are recovering from strokes, who are dealing with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, use music. If you have anybody who has Alzheimer's, dementia in your family or friends, if you play music from their era, they will start remembering stories back and doing this. So there is a health aspect of it we should be talking about.
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing, and we could talk about this forever. We could get to 2 a.m. if we had a round of beers, unless Jason was out walking the streets of Nashville,
Might have to bring him back.
we're still waiting for the story on. But we've got to make the case for AV. We can't apologize for it. And with all due respect, I don't think we have to say it's security.
Right.
I think we need to make the case for its ability to energize and
It can stand on
put
its
our
own
mo-
merit.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does. But then what we also need to do is we can't just make a legal case.
No.
We've got to demonstrate. We've got to get the experience out for the builders, for them to be ambassadors,
Exactly.
and then the right experience for the buyers.
I think what we just hit on is the fact that we know music's emotional, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to take that same experience and put that into an experience where they can make the decision based off of the emotional side of it while they're listening to it. So
Yeah.
Final words.
I think too, if you make it simple for them, that's the easy way. Is start with packages, start with kits, simple. Make it to where it's the same way, easy for carpet, wood floors, tile when you're buying a home.
Simple on the business rules and the execution
yeah.
with them. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and simple on the process, right? You've got to have a product that either sells itself or the tools are kindergarten easy for sales agents and design centers to share with a homeowner. But before we even do that, we've got to have the music on in the design centers. If the music's not on, you're not going to have the spouse saying to their partner, "Honey, I love this. How can we do this?" Right? If we don't achieve that, then it doesn't matter what our collateral is in the design center because no one's going to ask about it. People need to know that it's possible.
yeah, you're not picking slabs by looking in a binder or a book, right? You're walking along the slab yard and going, "I like that one. I don't like that one. This is what I want to have." The same has got to be true in our world. We have to have curated content, right? That's right for the environment that's doing that. We have to put the client into that experience. Let them become emotional. Let them relive their memories of high school or college nights or whatever it was, or Peter Frampton, and get that buy-in back into it. It has to happen, and that's how you get it.
I liked the LP experience, and our turntable was up above one of the beds, and you had to really have some agility to get the record up there without smudging the record and everything. It was really inconvenient, but it was important. Guys, thanks so much for being my first guinea pigs. Great discussion. Let's get out there and make it happen.
Thanks, Sean.
Let's do it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.